When you're ready.
Close to 2,500 years ago, the concept of democracy was introduced into ancient Greek society. The notion of the rule of people became a widespread ideology that people have instituted, fought for, and died for throughout all of history. This leads us to the question of, to what extent does the tendency to conform to a political party's beliefs impact the effectiveness of democracy? To answer this question, we must first understand what partyism is. As defined by the Merriam-Webster dictionary, partyism is the devotion to a political party or party spirit. This term is often used to describe putting one's party's beliefs over the beliefs of the individual. Over the span of history, partyism has a significant impact on the course of major events. This is specifically evident in the rise of the Nazi Party in Germany. To contextualize the period, Germany was in a poor economic state after World War I. Germany had lost the war and as a result of the war had been forced to form their previous monarchy into a republic in which people would have a say in who ran the government. Another consequence Germany faced was their economic struggle to pay back the cost of the war. This was one of the factors that put Germany into an economic depression as stock markets crashed and many German citizens were left without enough money to function in society. The economic struggle of Germany led many citizens to support the Nazi Party because the Nazis promised economic prosperity as well as power to Germany. One of the most significant statements that the Nazi Party belief was their necessity to create a superior race and a singular political vision. To do this, they imprisoned and killed many Jews, disabled individuals, and political opponents. The people of Germany were more likely to believe this propaganda because they were willing to do what was ever necessary to obtain the economic prosperity that was promised by the Nazi Party. The devotion to the Nazi promises and willingness to accept the propaganda that was given was clear examples of the dangers of partyism. Rather than come to the realization of the falsehoods of Nazi propaganda, the followers were willing to sacrifice individuality to conform to the party's beliefs. Between 1835 and 1840, Alexis de Tocqueville wrote an article called Democracy in America, in which he examines the effectiveness of American democracy as well as its downfalls. During this article, he discusses the dangers of the public conforming to the majority opinion within the country. Alexis de Tocqueville describes how many feel the pressure to choose the political beliefs of the majority because they wish to feel stronger and participate in a stronger and more popular opinion. While it is clear that partyism has an impact in our past and our history of the world around us, as well as major events that have taken place, it is necessary to use this information to see how it will impact our world in the future. One of the main quotes that he wrote in this document was that feelings and opinions are recruited, the heart is enlarged, and the human mind is developed by no other means than the reciprocal influence of men upon each other. The majority of democratic countries have some sort of multi-party system, but the United States has a two-party system that has left Americans in a polarized political state. Due to this issue, partyism has become an issue in American politics that is of concern. In a poll done by Pew Research, the rate of people agreeing with political parties on a specific topic was examined. In this poll, it is clear that the major political topics that are prevalent in the US, there's a clear majority consensus in the party of the top on a topic. As you can see here, the highest percentage is at 84 and the lowest is at 59%. While this information on its own does not necessarily prove to be an issue, because often general ideologies will affect the ideas and specific topics, it can become an issue if these opinions are the opinions of the party rather than the opinions of the individual. In our society today, we can see the pressure to conform that is evident outside of politics due to the desire for money, power, and social status. This is a concern that is largely seen in our teens. Due to teens and young adolescents developing brains, it has been shown that they're more likely to conform to the beliefs of their family, peers, and people of authority. However, there has been data from studies showing that neurological tendencies of teens and young adolescents, showing that they will mainly choose to resist negative influences from their peers and parents. In a specific study conducted to test the willingness to test how parents and peers influences affect the willingness to conform in young adolescents, it was found that teens would most often choose not to conform when their views were different than that of their parents or peers. Despite this, it was found that teens were more likely to conform when the behavior was constructive as opposed to unconstructive. This means that teens are more likely to only conform to the behavior that is viewed as positive. This is positive information for our future society. Though the effects of peer pressure are still evident in our society today. This plays a role in partyism because it is very similar to peer pressure. Not only are many social decisions influenced by peers, but often people are surrounded by those who share the same values and opinions. If the results that are previously shown accurately represent the majority of the adolescent population, then it is likely that partyism will not have an extreme significant impact on the effectiveness of democracy in the future. In attempting to preserve the effectiveness of democracy, it is important to promote and respect the opinions and the thoughts of the individual, as well as look critically on an issue and see how it relates to the values of the person and make a decision based on that criteria. Openness to discussion on topics can also help form our own beliefs as well as understanding others.
What information did you need that you weren't able to find or locate?
Well, I wanted to go more into just some topics on how revolutions for democracy were formed and possible signs of partyism in the creation of democracies in countries. But I wasn't able to find super specific information on that.
Okay, thank you. How did you use the conclusions or questions of others to advance your own research?
Using different sources Alexei de Tocqueville and just looking at, especially in the historical lens, looking at Nazi Germany, I was just able to help understand more how people's tendencies to conform to political parties can be a danger and how that might impact us in the future.
Okay, thank you.